Hopefully these next few minutes will be showing you a few things that make your project move along easier and have a little more success. The first tip is that if you're using a hammer, you want to use one that you're familiar with. It cuts down how much you hit the wrong things, including your fingers. The nails for the framing, just like the screws, are going to be 2.5 to 3 inches long. So you want to be careful again not to hit your fingers because it hurts. And then the nails for the plywood is anywhere from 1.5 to 2 inches long. So that would hold down through the thickness of the plywood and into the wood below. If you have a comfortable position, you might be able to take a pair of pliers and literally hold, instead of with your fingers, the pliers you could be hitting. And if you miss, hit the pliers. Something I'd suggest, especially if you don't have a lot of experience. But then anyway, there are some positions where you're not going to be able to hold it very well with that and the wood. Then there are also options such as air nailing. This particular one is a stapler, but there are straight nails and there are angled nails. Again, you want to use the same principle as the longer screws for the framing, the 2.5 inch to 3 inch screws for the framing on your air nails. And it can be straight, these are angle nails, and the 2 inch, 1.5 inch on the plywood. There's a number of different brands. You can use any of those brands for nailing the plywood and nailing the framing for the plywood. Then finally, my favorite, which is screws. Again, we're using the same length, 2.5 to 3 inch. In this case is Phillips head. This is my favorite. 2.5 to 3 inch for the framing and 1.5 to 2 inch for the plywood. Now, the reason I like the screws is because they don't move. You can pull the screws right on through the wood, but the screws don't move. Whereas any of these can loosen up, but they're a very traditional thing that have been used for hundreds of years. Now, as to what kind of screw gun or screws, drill or such to use, I've used every kind, right on up to big drills. And in this case, this is a battery powered drill, and you can put a shaft in it. This one has a keyless chuck, which means it doesn't have to have a tool to tighten it up. And then this is a electric drywall gun, which has a clutch in it. I've used these for years, hanging drywall. But of course, that's electricity, but you can use a regular electric chucked screw gun. The problem with both of these that don't have impact, which is my favorite, the impact. The impact does something that these won't, and this is what I'm going to show you have to do. When you are pushing in with that screw, can we zoom in here?
Mm-hmm.
You're pushing in, and probably pushing as hard as you can. The torque of twisting that screw into that wood will literally lift out. It'll start lifting up. It'll be lifting up and getting on top. And if you stay on it, you'll end up stripping the screw. Unless you can really push hard and keep that screw down in the bottom, that tip down in the bottom of that screw, it will lift up. Now, how do you deal with that? Well, you kind of what we call feather it in. That is, you take the trigger and you kind of push it in, let off, push it in, let off. And when you let off, that tip falls down into that screw head again and gets tight, and you can push again. You're feathering it, and you're pushing hard the whole time. So That's the trick with regular drills. You're going to have to not count on being able to push it all the way in, but rather you may have to feather it in so that it falls back down in that screw. Whereas the impact makes you look so much better. That impact is literally hammering in, and it's not the same as the impact that's on a drill. This is an impact driver. It literally pushes that tip in constantly so that you don't have to feather it in. So whenever you start getting this thing where it starts stripping, you don't need to keep trying to push it in. You need to back it out and put another one in, because you're stripping out the head of the screw, and it's only going to get worse as you go down. So